Hello, and welcome again to another exciting edition.
Well, I'll start with a joke.
Yeah, you can start with a joke. I'm just saying hello. But go on, Kevin's got a joke.
Why did the mermaid wear seashells over her breasts?
Why?
Because she grew out of her bee shells.
Oh yeah, seashells, seashells, right. That's good.
You'll get it.
Quick update on the MH370 as of this filming.
Yes.
August the
25th.
6:48 p.m. Sydney time.
Yep.
They have still not found it.
Finally, every day I wake up, look at the news, waiting for that MH370 still to come.
Yeah.
What can you do?
I forgot about it.
How was that crazy rain that we had all week in Sydney?
Yeah, never stopped. I think we've got another week like that coming up. I think today is the only break in the storm.
You have the days which are really hot, and then the day right next to it is like miserable and cold and raining.
They're just kind of
and
normal. They're just kind of natural for a tropical climate like Sydney, though.
Is it?
You know, all seasons in one day, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's kind of what you get over here. So.
No, but it's like the whole 24 hours is like summer, and then the next 24 hours is like winter, and it goes back. Like, it can weave in and out, not for a whole day.
Yeah.
Something's crazy.
What about when it was snowing the other day?
What?
Yeah.
Where?
Persian.
You know, the ski slopes. What it's meant to snow.
Yeah. It's never snowed in Sydney City ever, has it? Like, that cannot happen. In Christchurch, New Zealand, we get big snow like once every 5 years or so.
Yeah, right.
It's always a big thing. Get a big blizzard.
Yeah, right.
But usually you have to go up to the mountains for it.
It's misleading. It's like you see it on TV and stuff, and it looks so fun. It's like you want to roll around in it and like swim in it. Then you get there and you just realise it's fucking cold ice.
Yeah.
The reason it's white is because there's so much ice that's just massed together. It's not fun.
I actually do agree. The kind of snow you see in the cartoons just isn't how it actually works.
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind
like
of
you want
hard.
to bathe in it. You want to make a jacket out of it and just
Yeah.
roll around and have fun. And then you get there.
It's
As
all
soon as
sloshy and
you get out there, it's like it's that cold that you instantly freeze, and your hands are that cold that they're actually aching in pain. All you want to do is get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, snow, cut it out.
All these yuppies going down the slopes and stuff.
That's what I don't get. People go on like skiing vacations. Go to the beach.
Exactly. So let's all go skiing. Let's get so freaking cold that we could possibly die from this.
That should be fun.
Let's all go to the snow for one final vacation.
They could like cryogenically freeze them at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Have they gotten any? Does anyone know about that? Have they gotten any closer to cryogenics and the technology?
We can freeze them, but we can't do frost them.
Yeah.
But they're dead once they're frozen. Like they
Walt Disney's waiting to come back.
That's an urban legend, though, right?
where are these facts about Walt Disney?
They brought back Spock.
Did they keep that in Saving Mr. Banks? They had that part in there?
No, they wouldn't have. He had a lot of harebrained things that they didn't keep.
Who is Mr. Banks then? Who's Mr. Banks if Walt Disney is Walt Disney?
You've not seen the movie?
No, I haven't.
It's there's apparently, well, I don't know. I don't actually know if that storyline is true. I mean, it must be true. But Mr. Banks is the father of the author of the Mary Poppins books, who she like loved him to death, but had a conflicting relationship with him because he was an addict and ended up dying of like a really bad sickness. So it's actually about the author's dad.
Well, it's a shame I didn't have time to see it in the cinema. Perhaps I could go home and pirate the film. Segue to one of our topics we had lined up.
Pirates.
So was it you, Link, Kevin, or was it you, Chris? Who was bringing up the Fast and the Furious guy, the guy in the cinema?
Oh yeah, so
Right.
the dude got like 8 months in prison and community service or something?
No. 8 months is no. He got 33 months.
33 months.
And his friend who was with him got 9 months community service. No, 233 hours of community service.
For bootlegging a movie, Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah, so he went into the cinema with his camera phone, and you know who the hell does that anymore? Apparently he did. Went in, filmed the movie, put it up on his site, and it had, I think,
Oh, he put it up on YouTube.
He put it on YouTube.
Yeah. That's where he fucked up, because they're like, well, we know, like.
You sure it was YouTube?
4 million people watch
I
it.
thought, like, from what I read, he put it on
Tell
his
the truth,
website.
because I didn't know any of the other facts. You're probably more right than me on this one.
Yeah, no, well, what I just read is he put it on his website, and within space of no time at all, he had like 690,000 views, obviously.
Yeah.
And they sued him for it, or they took him to court for it, and 33 months. That's a harsh sentence.
It's also a very specific sentence, I must say.
Well,
33 months.
If you
Well,
start,
we're just round up 3 years.
because
Yeah.
they matched that with the dollar value. They said, well, this many
That's
people
right.
can buy a ticket.
That's one thing I think was funny because it's like, no, like, you can't just assume that everyone who watched it on YouTube would have been
No.
happy to spend $20 on it.
They would have gone to like Pirate Bay or whatever and got
Well, they're
it
probably
anyway.
gonna. I'm assuming they
Maybe
can appeal it
once.
somewhere.
Or
But
wait
then how do you
for
appeal
DVD.
Universal? Like,
Maybe that sold the DVD. Maybe all those people liked it so much they went and bought the DVD. Because they're like, well, I like it, but I don't like the shaky cam. I'll go buy that shit.
there's
They're just helping them out. They should be hired by that company.
yeah, he should.
PR.
Well, he actually gave them even more PR because the tweet that he did is like out of like X amount of people, I was the first one. It was like, fuck you, Universal. That was he tagged them and everything.
Wow.
Great, yeah.
Hey, can I pause on that point though? Because that's actually the point. It doesn't apply as much now these days, where you can torrent a full album in like 5 minutes. But back, when
Seconds now. Cable.
yeah, I mean, same difference. But like back
Not
when,
that we do that kind of stuff.
no,
I buy everything off
Yeah,
iTunes. Have
but
your Apple in it.
back when there was Napster and LimeWire and everything, and it took like 20 minutes to download a song. Yeah, I guess that was another file sharer. Maybe I don't know.
It was.
There were a lot of them.
iHub. Was it a Lady Beetle?
And Qatar.
Cause
Yeah.
Sorry.
Basically, like I would often basically ended up profiting the record labels more because I would download 3 songs, and if like it was 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to invest $35 in the album.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back when albums cost more.
So there's that side of it too, but then there's also people that even now will download, will pirate or whatever. Pirate, if you want to call it pirate, that's a filthy word. But anyway, they'll download music that they didn't buy it, but then maybe not, instead of getting the album, they'll buy merch. They'll go to a show, they'll pay $50-$60 to see the show, they'll buy 2 or 3 shirts there, there's already like $160. Fuck the CD. It's becoming now like pretty much a fact that compact discs are being phased out. Like they're becoming the new VHS. Like it's after like I reckon the
You're gonna
next few
miss
years
the
it won't
physical-
exist anymore.
You're gonna miss the physical copies though. It was nice to have kind of notes and all
Yeah,
that.
it was nice. And don't get me wrong, like it was a different thing. Though I remember like when I bought an album that I really liked, like I'd listen to nothing else. I'd treasure that album for up to 6 to 7 months. But now music is becoming very recyclable. I think it's so accessible. Like compared to how I used to listen to music, I can listen to like up to like 50 or 60 bands a week now. And it's good because it makes music much more accessible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. That's definitely like some
And
some people put effort in their packaging and things like that, and it's not.
I think that stuff will still stick around. If someone makes like a dope little box set or something, like
Exactly.
put a t-shirt
Look
with
at
it,
that
that
vinyl.
stuff will always sell. Yeah,
Yeah.
like for the fans.
Yeah.
There's been
And
a
I
couple of
do.
games that have come out like that. Sorry to cut in, but the game, you get a download code that you have to download through like PS Store or Xbox Live, whichever you have you. But there's still a physical copy in store, which is just extras. So like the special edition, there's like a shirt from it or something like that, or there's something in the game that's made like a mug or something like that. I can't remember which game it was. But yeah, so it's still. I don't think physical sort of copies will ever be phased out. It's just the actual media that you receive it on will change.
What will be phased out is people don't want to give money for not something they can like hold in their hand. So anything that's downloaded, all that stuff will just become free property. Like anything that's out there is everybody's. That's how it'll end up.
It's not a bad thing. Like you've got you'll always have that demographic that will go to iTunes and download from there specifically. You'll have the demographic that will want to go out and buy a CD in no other way. And you'll have the people that download. They're all still filtering into the same market. You're still making money off them.
I'm in a very specific demographic though, because like one thing I do really prefer, having my whole library in my hand as opposed to having to like choose most of a couple of CDs in the morning. I'm in a very specific demographic though, the iPod Classic. I don't want to put my music on my phone. I don't want to have a touch iPod, but they are getting less and less
Is that
popular
one with the
now.
wheel? Like the,
Yeah, the clip wheel, yeah.
Nice.
I always carry it around.
I don't really look at it.
Okay, but I mean,
Awesome.
like I love it. I
Equivalent
love that
to
thing.
Guardians of the Galaxy and the tape cassette. You're the equivalent.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess so.
Well,
Like,
no.
if they totally scrap the iPod Classic, I'm going to be pissed because I don't want to go to another format.
How will they scrap it? When
They don't make them anymore, do they?
Yeah, they're still making
Really?
the new generation.
Really?
Yeah, 180 gigabyte classics. They're still
Really? Wow.
yeah, but they're like being told this and this, and they probably will just if they do just continue, I'm going to buy like 5. Because this one I've got was really last week, like 7. Oh no, you always be able to like download an older version somewhere.
Yeah,
on
okay.
iTunes.
That's true. I
Um,
guess. Actually, no, I don't think you can. They're very, very particular. If you've
well,
got the
maybe
rights
not
to-
legally, but like there would be.
Maybe, I'm not sure, because it's baked into it now that it doesn't matter what version you download, it actually won't let you use it until you update to the latest version. I know they do that with firmwares at least. I'm not sure about iTunes. I imagine, like Apple being what they are, probably be similar, but all the best. I hope you still are successful.
With your 5 iPods.
Yeah.
I might not even have to actually. I've heard that, like, if something doesn't break after like 6 years, it's pretty much going to last forever. So maybe I don't have to buy any one.
Oh, speaking of iPods, this is a tangent.
There's a joke you made there. Okay.
We've got a really good friend. He's an awesome designer, artist, and everything. And I met up with him on the weekend, and he's making this interesting things. We're on the topic of Transformers the other week. Do you remember Soundwave by any chance? The speaker box.
Yeah.
Soundwave. He turned into a boombox, and my friend is actually making one. He's making a jukebox in the same, like the old school Soundwave fashion, with the lights and the sounds and everything.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting. It's a shame I don't have any pictures, but it's going to be amazing. It's one of the best things I've seen so far. And you can.
I have a Soundwave-esque tattoo.
Oh, do you really? That's excellent.
Which I won't show you.
Does it transform when you put it together like a madman type thing? You're like,
that Simpsons episode, he's got the Mad magazine on his back.
Do you guys want to do speed police?
Well, I'm not sure what speed police means. So
Well, we were kind of discussing it just before we started recording. One of the articles, one of them was about
Speed police.
yeah. So go on. Did you see the link?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
well,
I don't think I opened this one, so you're going to have to explain the whole thing to me. I was pretty busy at work today. There were a lot of.
I'll give you the premise. There was a specific case around the article, but the premise is that that police that have speed cameras have to identify themselves as cameras in use, like speed detection in
They
use.
dress up as a camera.
Now what they're doing is they don't have any signs or anything anymore, so it's just a random car. It's not even like a police-like car. It's just any car, and then they're just sitting there.
So it's now become legal for them not to have the sign anymore.
Well, this dude walks up with a camera and he's like, you can't do this, it's illegal. And she's like, well, you can see me, I've got she had like a little visor,
Fluorescent thing.
Yeah, high-vis thing.
Mm-mm.
And then she like drives off and he's got it all on footage.
He drives off.
But I mean,
I have to go over here now.
that's what I was asking though. Like,
You can't drive off, you know it's in traffic. She's like, oh shit.
but this was not. This is what I was asking you though, like, because I mean I don't drive, so I'm not really familiar with much of these rules. But that seems to me to be kind of silly that they need to be visible because that defeats the purpose.
I actually didn't know though that it was
safety.
legal for the ones with
The
the little
purpose
guns.
is not to get your money, the purpose is safety. So if they make you slow down by seeing them, it's just as effective as if you slow down by giving your wallet up.
No, but the thing about, I mean, sure, in that moment it is, but they only slow down because they thought it'd be a speed camera, so as soon as there's no sign of that, they start speeding again, so overall it doesn't really help the situation much at all. The whole point of a
What
speed...
about you get pulled over and then you're so pissed off that you go double the speed once you go past the cops? Like, you can say there's an argument for both sides. But
that's a very specific scenario.
No, but the only...
I'm not saying it happens a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Not being a driver, you don't understand road rage, my friend.
Okay, alright.
And especially if they pull
brings
you
out
up,
the devil in you.
they pull you up and you lose 3 or 4 minutes, you need to gain it, so you just step on.
But that's an argument just against speed tickets in general. All I'm saying is that, the whole point is to catch people and disincentivize them with a fine. But if you're telling them, hey, slow down and you won't get a ticket here, then that defeats the purpose of... If you want to outlaw speeding rules and tickets and stuff, well, that's a whole other argument. But if you're going to have them, you'd think having them be secret would be the logical way to do it.
Yeah, no,
That's depend, like exactly what you said. Depending what your intent is.
Privacy.
If their intent is to book you for speeding, then absolutely not. But their intent isn't. Their intent is to increase safety. So that's why they're putting signs out. That's the reason why there's signs come up saying speed cameras in Australia, speed cameras ahead, blah blah blah. The intent isn't to fine you. I don't believe
it's
that.
to make you slow down at the dangerous points.
Yeah,
they
exactly
identify
right.
dangerous spot, they put those things up.
If
But
it's
the funniest thing now, the whole thing is, if you watch the video of the...
I might have to watch it now.
Lincoln, you're the new tweet guy.
That tweet guy. I like it.
So that was that.
Okay.
Speed cops who...
Right.
Yeah, what about the cop scene? Well, this is not on here at all, but it just made me think about the Ferguson things that are going on in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
You know about it, I'm sure.
I do.
There was this one thing where a media filmed a cop who had a shotgun and he had a rifle or something.
Yeah.
And he's like,
I'm gonna kill
I'll
you.
fucking kill you, like you went off.
Yeah.
But, and, everyone's like, oh, it's terrible, blah, blah, he got suspended, and blah, blah, blah. But this probably is the wrong way to look at it, but I don't give a fuck. Like, that guy, he's he's a cop doing his job, like what he has to do. There's like a mob of people around him. I'd say that cop's fucking terrified that he's going to get shot in the head.
So you think he just kind of lost it in that moment? He
So,
wasn't actually legitimate.
I think he's
like,
freaked out.
Kill him, get off.
I think he's like
He
that
was
much.
pointing the shit at everyone.
I didn't see the video.
He was on edge. He was freaking out. Like he was fearing for his life. So what he did, he didn't think I'll be awesome and I'll tell people this. I think it slipped because he was genuinely fearing for his life.
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah. So like people are hating on him so much, and I understand because it's not what you should do. But I don't think he did it with any sort of malicious intent or any intention to kill anybody.
No.
So I don't know. Like,
I don't think you can give cops the same benefit of the doubt you can give private citizens, though. Like, you should be trained to not lose in high pressure situations.
you should be, but again,
not,
go back to they're humans. Like,
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean, in that kind of situation, anybody would freak out. It doesn't matter how much training you got, unless you're an SAS military officer or something. Maybe then your brain is a little bit tweaked that you can handle that sort of situation.
I'll say, in general, in general, like, a lot of the pictures and stuff coming out of there, the way the cops are militarized and all of that does trouble me, and I think it looks like overall the cops as a collective seem to be in the wrong in the situation. But just from what I've seen, again, I'm not an expert. I've got to say the Michael Brown thing, and I haven't read everything, and not all the information is out. I've got to say though, the whole thing did remind me, kind of like the Trayvon Martin thing, when the media. When the media gets a victim narrative, no matter what other information comes to light, they'll just never drop it.
Yeah.
Do you know much about the case, Kevin?
So yeah, I know very little about it too. Well, I know the basic gist of it.
Well, this kid, this kid gets shot by a cop. He's unarmed, and there's a big, outrage about it. Understandably.
Sorry to interrupt. Can I just say something before I forget? You know, before we were trying to get the microphones working?
Yeah.
I was just gonna...
It's not
plugged in. There's no need.
Right.
It's not plugged in.
So this kid gets shot and killed, and he got shot 6 times total, twice in the head. So understandably, people are like, what the hell? The thing is, when a few days later, when the cop's name was released, the police also released footage of the kid doing a strong arm robbery, kind of assaulting someone and taking some cigars.
Cop didn't know about it though, who shot him. Had no idea.
Well, no, his story, and look, the cops got every reason in the world to make things sound as much in his favour as possible, so obviously treat the cop story with a grain of salt. But the cop claims that he initially pulled the kids over, or told the kids to get off the road. They were walking on the road.
Jaywalking.
I don't know if it was jaywalking.
Not even. They were just on the road.
Okay. But and then as he was driving away, he got like a dispatcher, robbery, and then he turns around and then the kid assaults him and tries to get his gun, and in the process he shoots him.
So that story came after the original story where he himself actually said he wasn't aware of the previous thing that the.
Did he go on record saying he wasn't aware of it?
I think it was either him or his office or his sergeant, but he wasn't aware of that. Like the call out had not gone out to him that they were looking for someone. That had just robbed a super.
Quite frankly, I'm not taking sides because I don't know enough information. But what the main point I want to make is that when that video came out, a lot of the commentators came out saying it doesn't matter that he did the robbery. Well, I'm not saying that he should be dead because of it, but it does matter because the whole narrative was that he was a really peaceful boy who wouldn't harm a fly, gentle giant. All of a sudden, the cops' story that he assaulted him becomes a lot more credible in light of literally hours ago he performed a robbery in a store. So to say it doesn't matter, that just kind of annoys me. It's just kind of the media again not dropping their victim storyline.
There was also apparently he's a rapper or whatever, but he live tweeted the whole event. He was in the house as it all went down, and he kind of saw everything. He was tweeting as it happened. He had a photo of him on the ground.
Yeah.
It was
I didn't know
shots. Yeah, it's I'll send you the article. But yeah, it's got it's basically the entire timeline where everything happens. Like he sees everything. This guy's freaking out for his life because he's like, this cop just shot him, and he sees that he gets shot twice, and he turns around. When he turns around, that's when they do the big onslaught of bullets. So
right.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how credible that guy's story is. Yeah, that was pretty full on. This guy's basically freaking out for his life.
Where was this?
Which
Which
story or?
Yeah, well, where it happened?
Well, this happened in that location. Like, this whole thing.
Okay.
And he was still filming. This guy when he got shot down, it happened, and they didn't do anything. They left him there. I think he was lying there for 5 hours before they actually touched him. So there's a lot going on there, and I don't pretend to understand it all, but I think the media has a way of, like what you said, creating their own sort of story
narrative,
narrative. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, it's interesting. One thing I read that apparently donations have gone up and more money has been gathered for the cop than for who he shot.
More money? I'd be very surprised by that.
Apparently, they've raised more money for the cop than
to do what?
I guess just for his defense.
His legal fees.
I assume so.
Wait, actually no, that might make sense because the money going in the opposite direction would be split up to all organisations against violence on whereas with this guy it's just one legal defence fund, so it's one source. Yeah. That's how I could imagine more money.
I didn't look into that. I just sort of I didn't want to. I just looked at it and I was just like, this is gonna it's playing out, and probably what you're reading isn't the reality of what's going on.
I really don't like that idea that if the society funds the cop so he's more popular than the other person, no, but if he gets more money, then that means that more people are on his side, which means he can hire
It seems to be the
lawyer.
general consensus. I don't know.
That's like the opposite of justice. It's popularity. Like if you have more supporters, you get more money, get a better lawyer, you win.
Yeah,
that's not right.
Can't do much about it though. Well, I guess you could have a court system where it's only the regulator and this much amount of money total max can go to water.
Or it has to come from you, or I don't know.
Anyway, maybe. I don't know. That's a very difficult question.
Especially citizens funding government or government officials, whatever. Because it's not just.
There's a whole big argument in America about that. Public funding. We shouldn't allow private donations beyond a certain amount, etc. It's an ongoing debate. And I think there's good points on both sides of that. Obama was the less funded politician. Him and Romney last round, but he still won in the end.
Yeah.
So money can't buy everything.
Do you see Obama's push back on the military style appearance of the police?
Yeah, which I think is probably a positive thing.
I think so.
I'd agree with that. So, everyone's been challenging everyone and doing ice bucket challenges. 50 Cent had a thing which I thought was quite funny, challenging Floyd Mayweather. He just goes, Floyd Mayweather, if you can read a page of Harry Potter, without stuttering or fucking up, I'll give you $66,000 to any charity of your choice. Fuck the bucket of ice. And just throws the bucket of ice away.
I'm not sure if I spread this around, but there was firefighters were helping a US college football team. Yeah, so they got up on a crane and were firing hose water down. Hose down. Made so much sense.
Right from a hose.
to the kids beneath. But then there was the crane went back and it hit the power line, so it ended up electrocuting everyone. It's no one died, so it's quite funny.
Was they seriously hurt?
Yeah. And then
severe electric shocks on innocent civilians. Always a source of comedy here at FIAWG.
I think there was 8 people hospitalised and 4 of them were firefighters. And the picture was yo! And the truck just slowly backs away.
Hey, here's a question. Has anybody in the Ice Bucket Challenge been boom, okay, I did it, so I don't have to donate?
Well, I think they still have to donate, don't they?
Technically, I think the idea is they don't have to donate if they do it, but obviously everybody does, because no celebrity's going to be don't have to give any money to charity.
I'm sure everyone's donating, but I think
I'm sure they are. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure technically the idea is that you don't have to if you're Ice Bucket.
No. It's $100 if you don't do it, and it's $10 if you do it.
Right.
Yeah, so you're still donating.
Well, serendipitous as well. The creator or founder or whatever just drowned. Like,
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I saw that when I looked it up on Wikipedia. That's, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, deep sea diving apparently. He went down the first time, the second time he went down, he didn't come back. But he was diving apparently like 2-3 o'clock in the morning or something. Like it was late in the hour. It's like, well, why? Well, I reckon it was staged. He didn't actually
You
drown.
probably see a whole bunch of different
I reckon a
stuff.
shark got him, and they just don't want to tell anyone because they're like, oh.
Well, he found the
Sharks have got it bad enough.
MH370, he's chilling with him.
Yeah,
That's
that's what it is.
back to that.
Down in Atlanta. Oh, sorry, at Atlanta.
Atlantis, yeah.
Yeah,
More updates next week on that.
decided.
New York Happy Meal ban.
In New York,
Really?
if there's more than...
I thought that said bun.
If there's more than...
Sorry.
I don't know how kilojoules or grams or whatever, but if something's unhealthy, then you're not allowed to give a toy because it's enticing kids to eat unhealthily. So McDonald's have to either stop doing the toys or they have to replace chips with fruit and shit to get under this certain mark.
Okay.
Now they can want the toy, but they don't want the food. You know, as a second to a toy
So
store.
my thing that I've got against all this is that's like I keep talking about this every episode, like the state and the authorities like telling people how to live their lives, telling parents how to raise their children and shit. If their kid fucks up, it's not on the
State to help.
But at what age or at what level do we sort of
when you
allow?
stop getting the toys, then you make your own decision.
No, but but what I'm saying is like a kid or however, like because it's Happy Meal, so I'm assuming that's for someone that's still sort of governed by their parents, like or still sort of in the whole thing, like saying like like the kids they can make their own choice. At what age can a kid make his own choice or make a mature decision that this is bad or not?
But it's not his choice to make. He's like, I want this because it's got a toy, and their parents are like, well, you're not having it because it's not good for you. Like that's their parents' decision.
Yeah, so they want a toy instead.
Yeah, or you say you have it, and like, as a parent, this is what I grant my children access to. Like, it's not on anyone to say, make this illegal because like the kids don't know how to think. It's their parents' job to teach them how to think.
I was spoiled a bit as a kid. I had a Happy Meal every week. It was a Saturday thing, and by the end of cause it went on for years. By the end, I had this big fuck off box of toys.
That's some really good toys.
Yeah.
Did you ever have Animaniacs toys?
Yeah, they were great. They were collectible. Yeah,
That's another thing. Toys were better, like in the Happy Meals than they are now. Now they're just like a piece of 3D printed plastic.
Well, I haven't had a Happy Meal in a long time, so I can comment.
I still have them.
I remember these people that like the cars.
Animaniacs is sweet in general, though.
Oh, there was some
All
excellent
good shit.
So I've still got my Animaniacs.
What do you
I
get now?
every single
Stickers and
one.
stuff?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a 3D printed little toy. Like and that's like kind of a segue and off topic, but Kinder Surprises as well. How it's just like a one-piece little figurine now. Because they're not allowed to sell the little pieces anymore because they're hazardous for children. So remember all those cool toys that you used to get? You put them together and stuff. They do something cool. Doesn't exist in Kinder Surprise anymore.
Why are they hazardous though? Because aren't they in that capsule thing? Isn't that the whole reason they're in the capsules?
but like but some of these toys were intricate. You pull it apart and there's like 5 or 6 different tiny little pieces. So a kid could easily choke on it. But I think a kid could choke on a one piece.
But again, it's on the parent to like look at them when they're building it. Like you grow through that kind of shit. Like
so it's on their responsibility. I guess maybe they're doing this because maybe there's a large statistic that parents are being negligent toward their kids.
I've got absolutely no problem. They cover their back by putting things saying for ages 3 plus or whatever. Like they do that as a recommendation, but it shouldn't go beyond a recommendation to the point where they're like, we know what's best. You can't have this, and they cut it off.
Yeah, but I'd be interested to see what their motivation behind putting that in is like.
I'm pretty sure it's quite straightforward. It's just an obesity epidemic thing. It's like they had the big.
You think so? So you think it's more to do with that the food's unhealthy and not that the toy itself is hazardous?
No,
it would definitely a health issue. New York's got a reputation on it too, like the big gulp thing they had earlier in the year. The mayor wanted to get rid of the oversized. The portions in America are pretty crazy, but still, I agree with you. I think the nanny state should get out of it. It should be about personal responsibility and everything. I agree with you, but it's definitely coming from the health. I'll tell you what, though.
I'll just say real quickly. The only reason why they're doing it is because they want to look like they're making a big stance on things and making big changes and shit.
It's classic Democrat kind of,
Exactly what it is.
trying to take care of everybody. The bullshit. Not that I hate the Democrats across the board, but it is something they're kind of known for. That Michelle Obama telling kids what to eat. Anyway,
She's got a rap album coming out too, doesn't she?
What?
I heard of it. I heard she's coming out with she's laying down some vocals.
Okay, skip the
I
book.
saw Buzz Aldrin has a rap song with Snoop Dogg. Don't ever listen to it.
Okay.
I wish I didn't know about it.
I want to make one more point on the Happy Meals. The other argument is that it brainwashes children for later on in life to be in McDonald's because you have a positive association. I saw that argument on Super Size Me. Have you guys seen Super Size Me?
Yeah, I have seen it. Sorry, I don't quite remember it. I saw it when it first came out.
Well, when he's interviewing the guy who makes that argument, he's like, you have positive associations, so later in life you only lead to McDonald's. And probably like my biggest laugh at this moment in that documentary, Morgan Spurlock's like, yeah. That's why when I have a kid, every time we drive by McDonald's, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Wow.
That was good.
Well, what's funny about that, though, that you mentioned the Super Size Me thing? I was listening to the almighty Rogan, and he was one of his podcasts the other day, and he had someone on. I don't remember who it was. Damn, but he brought up this thing regarding the Super Size Me thing, and how it's like, I don't know how he put it, but basically that it's an entertainment piece rather than anything overly factual.
It's pretty much,
After it actually released and stuff, there was an official response. Like they interviewed or he put out a statement, and it was the manager in Australia of McDonald's, of all of it. And he came on TV and stuff, and he was like, I don't remember his name, he did Super Size Me, but he's like, so he's put out this video, and in the video he's saying that if you do nothing, like you sit around and eat Maccas every day for a month, you're going to get really, really sick. And he's like, I could have told you that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's exactly right. Because that's essentially all he's doing.
Yeah,
he's eating Maccas every day, and he's sitting around doing nothing, getting no exercise.
To be fair, they said he could only do as much exercise as the average American. That was his argument. Okay. But still, it is it is silly. I mean, it's a silly premise, and
it's an entertainment piece. It's entertaining to watch.
I saw a counter argument documentary, which has its own bullshit. Like at one point, it argues that back in the day when caveman times and most of our diet was meat, and I was watching it and being like, And after documentary, I was like, wait a minute. I looked at it like we were just going around wrestling tigers all day. So the exact opposite was true. So there was plenty of bullshit in the counter documentary, but one thing he was right on: the calorie count that Morgan Spurlock gives in that is impossible. Especially by his own rules.
Yeah.
Because he has to have everything on the menu at least once. Supersize, if they ask him to supersize, based on the calorie count he gives for how much he consumes by each day, the guy says that he would need to get the fattiest burger, always with a maximum sized drink and a maximized sized chips and everything.
Yeah. Plus
a sundae or something. Something crazy for every meal.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, look, he's either lying, or he's either lying about sticking to his own rules, or he's either lying about how many calories are actually consumed.
So there's whatever thing he's lying about, I'm sure that he's lying about something in particular. Again, to make it, otherwise, he might have done it, and the results might not have been what he wanted it to be for it to be commercially viable. For as many people to watch it as. Yeah.
I'll tell you something kind of related, which I thought was quite intriguing. The GM of, or vice president or something of Coca-Cola, they asked him, there was a lot about these health concerns about Coke and shit, and he said, I have about 4 bottles of Coke a day. The first one I have is Coke, and then I have Diet Coke, so I know it's no good for you. So you have one to treat yourself per day. This is the head dude at Coke, saying,
what?
He's saying, you shouldn't have 4 bottles of Coke a day. So he has the first one as normal Coke, and then he has Diet Cokes.
Right.
Interesting. So he's basically saying his product is not good to be consumed. So you have a little treat every now and then. It's 1 bottle a day, and then you'll be fine.
A small bottle, right? Not a 1.5 litre.
Well, the thing is saying that he's not glorifying his product. He's saying in moderation.
Yeah. By the way, Diet Coke's just not fattening. Everything else about it is worse for you, isn't it?
That wasn't the argument.
But isn't zero even worse, apparently?
Well, anything that tastes sweet but doesn't have sugar in it is fucked up. They're putting some kind of nuclear material in it to make it like that. Not literally, of course. I'm just hyperbole.
Yeah, just something crazy. Yeah,
sugar's not bad for you.
Not in and of itself, no.
For what they're
massive amounts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But they put in Coke Zero and whatever is more bad for you. It's worse.
It's an artificial sweetener.
But there's a lot less of that than there is sugar, which is not as.
It's not as fattening.
It's probably as bad as sugar, really, and they just
everything else you could name under something that's bad aside from fattening is worse than Diet Coke. It's just not fattening, which is obviously not the be all and end all.
That was
I think is drink water.
You put that very eloquently.
But even water's no good for you. Well, I don't know.
Let's not go into this.
Let's go again. That fluoride, isn't it? Have we been through this already? Have we spoken about fluoride?
This is pre-Chris days. We had a whole episode about taste testing water.
I wish I was here for that because I actually I've got one of those reverse osmosis filters, so mine is pure, completely unchemical water. Like,
so we could put that alongside.
Yeah, so maybe we should revisit it. I think it'd be interesting. Or have you guys already ranted about the effects of fluoride?
Well, I personally don't buy the fluoride thing. Kevin does, you know.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy that the amount of it in our water is particularly bad. I'm not concerned about the amount of water I drink. I drink litres a day.
I'm just interested into why it's in there. Like, I know that they're saying, it's
they're
good
locked.
for your teeth.
They're locked into a contract.
That's what I've heard as well. It's that they've paid for it already, so they can't undo it at the moment. Or it's that, or I can put my tinfoil hat on and say that it's in there to compensate for something that would otherwise be harmful if the chemical wasn't in there. I don't know. But apparently it occurs naturally in water as well, though. So
yeah, it does, but it's a well-known thing that they're locked into like a 20-year contract or whatever to supply certain chemicals, and they can't break out of it.
Right.
But
I've heard that completely,
that's a fact.
Like purely filtered water isn't necessarily good for you either because it takes out salt and like takes out all like the other things that your body needs as well. So like I've heard that a lot of people actually who drink like completely filtered water with no additives or anything, like they'll actually take like some amount of salt every day because otherwise like their body they feel the effect of not having that within their system. Yeah, it's interesting.
The first Action Comics comic, which is called Action Comics #1,
which also features most importantly,
which was the printed birth of Superman. Sold today in 90% good condition for $3.2 million.
Oh wow!
This is the original.
Stanley buy it and rip it up.
Well, it's the best condition of that exists.
Okay,
and the original print, from 30,
so the original run,
from 32 or 34 when it was started.
It did look pretty pristine. I mean, it looked new.
It's one of the most important non-Bible things ever.
What happens if the guy wants to? Well, I guess the guy can do whatever he wants with it, but like, how many?
I was going somewhere with that.
How many times has it been like opened and read? That particular volume, you know.
It's
Did you read it?
A guy had.
I'd read it.
I'm sure you could get a PDF.
Yeah, it's $3.2 million. I'm pretty sure you could part with it. Yeah. I'd do something to just piss all the jokes off. I'd make a video of it. It's like, so I just picked this one up. Or it's like, I wonder what it tastes like. I'd just be the biggest joke about it. Dude, I reckon you'd get shot. You'd get assassinated for something like that.
It's a really important thing, like, for literature, for everything, for film, TV. 32 when they were just started like putting stuff down on film, and then this came out and everyone was enthralled by it.
Yeah,
it's a pretty huge thing.
Can't say I'm a big fan of Superman though.
Neither. I never really got into it.
No.
But he's still important in the evolution of comic book characters. I mean,
He's just creative, and when people's
the only one that I was half interested in, well, there's the one where he dies. That one's great, but the
spoiler alert for.
Everyone knows. But don't worry, he's back alive now. He's not dead anymore. That's a good thing about comic books, that they never stay dead. But they did a spin-off, and it was called Red Sun. And the premise was, what if instead of landing in the US, he landed in Russia? So he's a communist Superman, like he's full Russian.
Well,
it's excellent. Like the S is actually the hammer in the sickle. I've only read the first section of it, but the one I read was really, really good. So I recommend it. Yeah.
You know, Captain America is actually a really liberal, progressive character, but like he's obviously, because it's like America, he's been adopted by like the right wing kind of people. But
true.
He's very progressive in the books.
I read a pretty controversial Marvel story with him though. It's called Civil War, and in this premise, basically the opening scene is there's a whole bunch of young superheroes and they're doing a reality TV show where they they break in on villains and catch them, and they film the whole thing, but they fuck with the wrong guy, Nitro, whose ability is that he can explode basically. So they corner this guy and they fuck up, and Nitro explodes, kills this and wipes out an entire area of the US, and because of that a system comes in from the government where every superhero has to register and they have to become part of the state. They need to get jobs, they need to pay tax, they need to do all these things, and obviously it goes insane. And a small group, or like not a small group, but a large group of the superheroes rebel on it, led by Captain America. So Captain America is against the government. That's right, yeah. And Tony Stark is with the government. So it's split between the two, and it's become civil war. It's very, very full on. Probably shouldn't say, but yeah, big spoil. No, I won't say it. I better not. People, well, no one's going to watch it. You know what? Fine. Are you guys going to read it?
I'm not going to read it.
Captain America actually ends up being killed by the government because of it. Because he's leading, so it's full on. That's actually the first death of Captain America in it, and then who replaces him? I can't remember now. I think he's African American who replaces him. But so it was just one of the most intense stories I've ever read, like in the Marvel universe. It's very, very real. Human Torch from Fantastic Four, he gets killed too. The way he dies, though, is messed up. It's very real. He gets killed by an angry mob that are pissed off about the whole thing, basically. So he just basically gets trampled to death by
in the same story.
In the same story, yeah. Which then leads
Who was writing? Like some work experience guy writing that day.
So it's one of the most famous series. Like it's insane. It's really, really good. But then further down to that, because the Fantastic Four don't have Human Torch anymore, they actually recruit Spider-Man, so he becomes part of them, and Tony Stark makes him this crazy ass suit. It looks amazing. But yeah, so it gets pretty intense. It's a good story.
I don't know if there's any crossover between that the Fantastic Spider-Man, the new comic, the new cartoon.
Sensational Spider-Man?
Sensational Spider-Man, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
I think that's a whole new universe. Stark makes Spider-Man the same spider suit.
Is it like the crazy one with the robotic claws and stuff? Or?
It basically looks like a spider Iron Man.
So he's got like the extra arms, which are like massive spider claws? No, okay, because there's a few iterations in the comic where Stark makes his armor for him. In Civil War, actually, he turns into a badass. Yeah,
you know what I did see and I recommend is the Son of Batman. The latest anime.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah, that's real good.
Okay.
I like it.
Animated film.
Yep.
Okay. So this is linked to Robin Williams. Do you guys want to say anything about Robin Williams before my rant about the Westboro Baptist Church?
He was excellent. He was
wrestling.
Yeah, he pretty much raised me like when I was young. That's not even a lie.
A lot of childhood memories. Yeah. Okay. So just say that as passing. We can leave it there. Good. Okay. Rest in peace, Robin. You told me before you don't know much about the Westboro Baptist Church, because I know you're an early Throw fan. Have you seen the documentary?
Yeah, that's all I know about it. Just his documentary, and then
that's a fair amount to know, though. It gives you an idea of.
Is it? It is, but then Louis Theroux has a certain his pieces are very there's intent behind it.
They're pretty hard to spin, the Westboro Baptist Church. What you see is pretty much what you get. So, and to most people watching, I'm sure you know who they are. They think that soldiers who. American soldiers who are killed overseas are killed because of the gayness that America allows to go on.
Gayness.
They're known. All the faggotry, as they'd like to say, they're known for their slogan, "God hates fags."
Man, you're gonna get lynched. You can't use those terms anymore.
Well, I'm quoting.
There's no ways to say it.
I'm quoting.
Yeah,
they're known. They're known for.
That's what he's talking about.
They're known for their signs, God hates fags, etc., etc., etc. Now, Australian comedian Adam Hills, who I watched the segments. Not really my flavour. I thought it was kind of a bit tacked on. He made a platypus joke, which has been done a million times, so not my flavour. But
what was the joke? Do you know?
Oh, it was something about God's design or whatever, but no one, they should tell that to whoever looked at the platypus or something like that.
Yeah, but I've seen that around, so I didn't know.
It's been going viral on Facebook, this rant against the Westboro Baptist Church. Now, first of all, I always get annoyed whenever someone points out the Westboro Baptist Church and goes, what assholes. It's like, oh really? What an astute observation. Like, it's the easiest way to get a pat on the back, because I don't approve of the Westboro Baptist Church.
Yeah, it's virtually like when someone does an Instagram of the Eiffel Tower and says, "How beautiful."
Yeah, exactly.
We know this.
Yeah, just get over.
See your shitty Instagram. Sorry, that's a rant of its own.
But exactly, it's just a way to score points. Go, aren't you progressive for not agreeing with the most hated group in the world? And again, which Adam Hills is kind of participating in that same kind of congratulatory. In fact, before I even get into the next point I was going to make. I read an article kind of about the most recent development in this story, which I'll explain soon. But they said, Hills was getting a lot of Twitter reactions for his brave rant or whatever. It's the opposite of brave, okay? I'm brave for criticising Adam Hills.
They're doing what's been done before,
yeah.
maybe doing it slightly better or slightly more.
Yeah,
you know,
so not brave, not fucking brave.
But who is brave?
Well, I'm brave for criticising Adam Hills.
You seen that movie?
Because, you know,
Brave?
my...
Disney movie? Animated?
No. Okay.
No one cares. They really don't. I don't.
Anyway, the one thing that Adam Hills did, the main kind of point of the skit, and I'll grant him this actually was kind of funny, is that he said to the Westboro Baptist Church, you know, I will pay for your plane tickets, even give you first class, for you all to go to Iraq and protest ISIS, the Islamic State.
Did he actually do this? Did he say?
Well,
this?
It's kind of a joke. It's like a satirical sort of statement, like, you know,
yeah, all right.
you know, you feel free to say this in a free country, but like, you know, go to where they just beheaded this journalist and you protest them.
Yeah.
But they tweeted back. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, so they tweeted back and they said, you know, challenge accepted, Mr. Hills, and like they had their own signs like imams rape children, you know, God hates Islam, etc. We'll go. No,
Of course they're not going. Come on, buddy.
He reneged on it. So he basically.
Why would you?
Well,
send your own cameras and go.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I mean, first of all, like as he kind of joked in a segment, he said that you know, we talked about with certain officials who weren't totally happy with us sending like a radical protest group to a war zone. But he also like the other thing is that no matter how much people hate the Westboro Baptist Church, it would be a pretty grim punchline if he actually flew them over and then they got like brutally beheaded.
Which they would. But you know what
They
though?
would,
like
yeah.
you know what's messed up about that? Because in him reneging then, no matter whatever the reasons he reneged for, that's promoting the value of the Westboro Baptist Church then. It's like, oh, we're willing to do it, so you're saying we're wrong, but we were going to do it with complete conviction, and now we're saying, oh, never mind.
Exactly, they
that's
won.
boosting them.
They
exactly
won.
Right. And
so what he did, he tried to like kind of have it both ways. Like, so we're going to get all the money we would have put to the plane tickets, and instead we're going to give it to one of Robin Williams' favourite charities. So we're going to like, you know, come back and hate with love. Oh, isn't that nice? But you still lost.
Yeah.
Right, you lost.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Say what you want about the Westboro Baptist Church, but they win this round. All right. They called your bluff. You were bluffing. You had to take it back.
Yep.
You lose, Adam Hills. I'm sorry. I'm not jumping on the ain't you great bandwagon. You got nicely.
Yeah, in like at
served.
its core,
Served.
it is what it is. Yeah.
Served.
Very similar thing.
Not that we're endorsing the Westboro Baptist Church.
Not at all. But you pretty much have to a bunch of dumb people.
Yeah.
There was this whole thing that I was looking at like a couple months ago. It was celebrities that were going to these picket lines where they'll have these signs up and taking selfies of themselves with them in the background, saying, "Oh, these guys are ignorant" or whatever. But by doing that, the point of the argument was exactly people that wouldn't have seen those signs, didn't know they were there. All of a sudden they see it, even if they're laughing at them, like they know.
It's
like,
even in the
spreading awareness.
It's even in the passages of the Bible that they're referring to is that like you will be hated and everything in your time for being right. Every time someone mocks them, they like feel as if like that's
they're being
right.
reinforced.
We're getting more points from God. Hey, actually, I'm gonna slightly do a little bit of a what is it when you correct yourself or you
Backstep.
kind of apologise?
A double back.
Not a
apology.
Not a Michael Bay at all, just a small one. The September 11th thing. I wasn't saying that I thought it was offensive, but I was saying like how stupid did the execs have to be to not look at that poster and go, oh wait, no. Like, you know, kind of put two and two together. I ended up seeing the poster. I personally wouldn't have drawn that connection. Like, they were just jumping from a building and there was an explosion that didn't even remotely look like.
But it's an exploding 9/11.
No, I don't actually think that was the text. I think I might have played.
Oh, so it was your fault. Yeah.
So the part like no, but but I don't actually think it was exploding into cinemas. I think that I might have.
I think it was just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There, but it was not like it was 9/11 on the date, and it was them exploding out of a building. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people like obviously like I wouldn't have drawn the connection. Really. I probably would because I'm a pretty cynical person like that, but.
I suppose the studio execs who are paid to look over that shit, maybe I won't take it back, maybe they should have figured it out. I'm just saying, like, the picture I painted in my head...
There's bad publicity at the end of the day, you know, so I don't think that they did it completely ignorant of what they were doing.
Well, then that should be...
Considering how long it was put out for.
Deliberately doing it to... get.
Yes, and that, but it could have been as deliberate or not deliberate as. It's probably a bad comparison, but the whole the psych test that they did on Facebook, you know, with like putting positive posts to the top of timelines and negative ones, you know, it was
Right.
They basically had their teams that were working on it had free reign to do whatever they want. So it might have been the same thing here, where the editing teams or the, like whatever, like the people that were making those posters, it was like, cool, do what you think's best. You know what I mean? Yeah. So could very much have been that. Like, how many times have we work in social media? How many times have things been put out and then it's like, oh, the hell did we just do? Yep. You know, it happens, especially in big, like gigantic sort of like productions like that.
The problem is when other people put context in it, and then that becomes the context which it was made from, when that absolutely wasn't the intention.
Yeah, it was probably it's a blind spot. Everyone's got blind spots. You know, like who knows? Who knows what the reasons are that they put it out for? It might have been intentional. It might have been they didn't realize. It might have been like probably people won't care. Who knows?
Yeah. But we're in a society, and like especially like the American media and around like Hollywood movies and stuff. It's things have to be good. Like there has to be a moral to every story. Like every poster has to like make you smile when you walk past and stuff. It's not like that. Like European movies and stuff like that. It's totally different.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more like criticism and negative feedback when America does something that's not like totally uplifting and inspirational, like burning building with something that's slightly tasteless, but it's not like it's there to incite thoughts and.
Yep. Do you want to do lemonade stand?
Yeah, little kid, so big. When I get over the hour mark, my brain just.
How do you know how big he was?
There's a video on the side, I think.
Was that the story? It was like a small kid.
I'll tell you the picture was this little kid on the front of someone's yard with a little lemonade stand. He had like a little foldable table, lemonade. He like looked like this
American dream.
This sweet little blonde guy, so big. And the article was like the neighbours were calling the cops saying like this dude's driving business to our neighbourhood.
Neighbour. It was one particular old man.
One person.
Was it Mr. Wilson? Was Dennis selling lemonade?
That's what exactly reminded me of. It reminded me of Dennis the Menace, yeah.
But
he did
the whole argument was like, this is a residential place and now it's become a business place, so our main property's going to drop down. So, and that was the story, and then below the fold it goes into his friends used to go there and like hang out and throw rocks at people. She's like,
oh, come on, what are you talking about?
The whole story
Eat some more sedatives, old man, come on.
The whole story was sensationalised, like this sweet kid like had the photo of him and stuff.
He's like, he's a terrorist.
How do you know he's not throwing rocks though? Why do you immediately assume the old man's incorrect? Because if they are doing that, then like I'm now on the old man's side.
Yeah, but why didn't he start with the story saying he was throwing rocks?
Exactly.
Like, why isn't the story little menace kid that throws rocks? Why is it about the lemonade?
Exactly.
I was like, what's he talking about? That's ridiculous.
Well, even if the throwing rocks shit is not correct, I mean, I don't know.
The police report said like this is what.
Oh, the police report.
There's like 5 of us.
Wait, no, the police report said it happened, or the police report said the man said it happened.
So did they tell him to close his operation? Or did he have to get an ABS?
No, they haven't. He hasn't been told to close down.
It's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly. Tune in again for ongoing Conrad Joker. But
there's two sides of every story. When they only promote one side to like make the articles seem different. Going back
in their defense, they did put that detail in there. But
you have to let it fold before before it was like a photo of a sweet kid like. He's been hated on by these grumpy old dude. It's like, oh, actually.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like everyone probably got angry at him. It's like, how can you hate on him for selling lemonade? He's like, but he's throwing rocks. I swear he was. Yeah. So I know what this is going to lead to. Drugs in this neighbourhood.
Hey, I will say though, this is the point I made to you on the email. Even if the old man is lying about the rocks to get the kid in trouble, why can't he just sell the lemonade outside of his own damn house? Like, no matter how unreasonable the old man's concerns, if the old man doesn't want him selling lemonade outside of his doorstep, can't he just go to his own house?
He's lonely, you should just get a cat. They're good.
Apparently it is illegal. You can't serve food without a food license, for number one.
Oh, but you can do it outside of
your little kid to do that.
You can do it outside of your neighbour's house.
It's illegal anyway.
Oh, so you're just making it illegal for the old man.
Well, for the situation. And
what if he was selling bottled lemonade, I wonder, would he be in trouble for profiteering off somebody else's product?
Well, the second side of it is that if you're like moving tender around, you have to pay taxes and you have to record that shit. So again, what he's doing is illegal. Like,
It's
the cops-
man. What's
the cops-
going
It's
on?
technically illegal, but it's
Oh.
one of those things where like some laws are made to not be enforced. Like
Exactly.
that's
in,
more
in the
for.
article, the cop said, we used to do it when we were young, we think it's sweet, we don't want anything to do with it. So they're like, well, exactly like some rules, like you banned.
Bonus topic number 2, Taco Bell. You want to talk about Taco Bell, or are you going to
Delicious
leave that
Taco
one?
Bell.
This is
Remember when they had Taco Bell here?
Yeah, on
very
George
short
Street.
stint. Yeah, it was on
I
George Street. They
didn't
had a
have
couple
it.
of other, like one at Bankstown Airport. You never had it?
No.
It wasn't any good. It was the same chain that ran KFC.
Do you remember when we had it? God, it sucked so
Yeah,
bad.
but come on. Like, how many things do you still eat now that are terrible that you just keep going back to?
Taco Bell, they have a long-standing policy where they don't have large bills because they don't like getting robbed, I guess. So all of a sudden they lifted this policy on a couple of the stores. So now all of a sudden they start being able to carry large tender, 50s and 100s. So they're wondering like what's going on here. So they start to investigate and they figure out it's because they are printing off their own $20 bills that look almost like legal tender. And they're encouraging people to give them large bills so they can give them back the change, and they give them the change in these fake 20s, like thinking they're not going to get caught. Taco Bell.
Which Taco Bells? I mean, I don't want to generalize, but who's doing this? They run by certain
Mr.
cartels.
It would just be a
What's
scam
going on
done
here?
by a few of the employees, or like I guess a manager there because he needed to change the policy. But yeah, you know what it reminded me of when I heard of it? It reminded me of Nathan For You. That sounds like a Nathan Fielder like idea. I can just imagine like him like briefing it and like the kind of like do you know Nathan For You at all? I actually don't know the full explanation, but I just like imagine like kind of explain it. So what would happen is customers come in and then like you give them the change, but when it's there, it's actually just Taco Bell money, and like it's kind of cuts to the manager going, okay, yeah, because you said you'd make more money. Like I can just imagine Nathan pitching that to a business owner. Knock off brands.
Okay.
Like
Like LAIs.
what kind of shoes am I wearing?
Came up.
They look like Vans.
I'm not going to point you to try and say Converse.
Yeah, Converse is what I'm getting at, and like to anyone tuning in, they look kind of exactly like Converse. Like I got full I went in on like $40 Converse because they're like
Feel like Donverse or something.
they're Raven.
Of course.
And yeah, I went in like $40 Converse. She goes, well, they're not actually Converse. They're they're Raven, and I'm like, oh, okay, but I need new
Where do
shoes.
they make these? Did you question it? You just bought them.
Well, no, I figured that's when I figured out they're a generic brand. Like I knew what I was getting, but I tried them on. It was comfortable enough. I've been wearing them.
Generic means though, as in like, what's the origin of these shoes? It makes me interested.
We're just made by someone who's not Converse. They don't have the fashion value. But
Do you reckon Ray-Ban is a company in itself, or do you think they're just like, we'll slap this name on it and it's just an actual generic warehouse? It goes out to all these that outsource to different things.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, like I mean, the material feels pretty much the same. I've been wearing them for a week. They're arguably more comfortable than my actual pair of Converse that have been worn out. The only test is time, because I walk a lot, so my Converse tend to last like about 6 months, maybe a little bit under. If they last that long, I'm never going back to Converse. I'm just going to keep buying the knockoffs. And I was wondering...
I think, really quickly, so I'm against fakes, right? But if you're like wearing these, they're like, these are my Ravens, not these are my fake Converse. Then they're not fakes anymore because they're real Ravens.
Yeah, I mean,
But
they may
question
limit the look
is it
of
a real
Converse,
brand?
but they don't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what counts as a real brand? As long as you have a branding on there, it's a brand.
So
No. Is it a real brand? Is there a factory? Are they Ray-Ban? Do they have a marketing website of Ray-Bans? Do they have like particular marketing material?
or does
is it
someone just get a whole bunch
store?
of blank stuff and then they're
Yeah.
like, in Australia, let's make these Ravens.
Yeah, exactly. In this country, it'll be.
Which again isn't a bad thing. But if it was like, when they have like 90s, like Mikey and shit like that stuff.
I'm a
Cut
fan
that
of
out.
those.
Yeah.
What about the iPads in Asia or somewhere?
And there's an electrician down the shop which has like the Nike swoosh on like an electrician. Like, what are you doing? It's getting crazy.
It's funny though, it reminds me of the iPads thing because I remember they were advertising it. It was literally iPad and it was designed by Steve Jobs. This is so good.
It's even more funny because it's not like Apple products actually have designed by Steve Jobs or whatever anyway. You know. So I was just thinking after my success with my Converse, or tentative success with the Converse, we'll just have to see in the long run. But
I don't reckon it's going to stand a test of time. Just having done similar things in the past. Okay, but then again, I've got a really heavy step, so
we'll have to see. They feel the same as Converse, but I was wondering how far like that concept of just getting knockoffs extends to. For instance, I live near a big brand store. Well, it's not big, you know. Sale, all must go. Come in now. Big names, same stuff. Like
so you need to get any
sleep.
You know the kind of store. You know the kind of store. You know the kind of store I'm talking about. Like the bargain stores.
Yeah, the ones that are always closing down. I think there's in that Adam Sandler movie where he's a hairdresser. That store is like we're closing down. That's the name of the store.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they don't even have the dude on the PA anymore. They just got a CD.
You remember that? The guy at the front. No, but do you remember the old school times? That's just so awkward. It's not. You're walking in, they're like, oh, look at this guy. He's definitely going to buy something out your son. It was off-putting.
Did it get outlawed? Like it's illegal?
I don't know. It's just kind of. It was there.
Can't tell your store anymore.
I think they're still around though. Some of them, the ones that are real dodgy and can't afford a PA, like.
Anyway, I was just gonna. Well, the one. Sorry, now I'm getting off topic. The one that is near me. It does actually have the owner out front. He just doesn't say anything. Like he's just kind of walking around. He's kind of eyeballing everybody.
He's not a social person.
He looks like a nice guy.
Excuse me, go away.
But anyway. Here's the question I want to raise, and then we should wrap it up. That place sells knockoff like Calvin Klein cologne.
No.
You reckon it would smell like petrol? Because I'm thinking it's $8. I'm thinking like $8. You know what? If it ends up being shit, it ends up being shit. It's just $8. I'm going to go try it out because I've had real Calvin Klein in the past. I want to see if it's actually half decent.
It might be. Well, it would be.
Probably.
It wouldn't just be like foul smelling. It'll be like just. Normal.
It'll be a very generic, ugly smell. It'll be, you know what I reckon it is, if anything, they're probably just relabeling. They're probably buying a mass of a really cheap product and emptying it into a different bottle, Calvin Klein bottle. They do that at markets and things like that.
How hard is it to make cologne though? Isn't cologne just basically a few chemicals with kind of a nice scent to it?
Well, it's like, why can't everyone make Coca-Cola? It's not hard to make, but you just need to know how to make it. No one knows how to make it.
Not effectively anyway. Again, LA Ice.
One of the colognes was in the shape of a grenade.
Oh, that's great. That's a copy of Diesel.
Yeah, that's the package said. It said, if you love Diesel, you like this. If you like Diesel, you love this. That's the.
Do you know what? Like hairdresser, there's like hairdresser's choice, and that's the name of the thing. What hairdresser? How credible is this?
The Calvin Klein knockoff as well. It had a sticker saying, "In no way associated with Calvin Klein."
Very good.
Marketing, great.
Love it.
All right.
And now time for my apology that last week the show didn't go ahead because I was under the weather.
It's alright, I think we're all a bit under the weather.
Yeah, capacity. Probably knows me coughing a little bit.
But that's what happens when the weather goes up and down like it has. So
especially when it's so unnatural and erratic.
Your body doesn't know what to do.
Exactly.
But I hope the bonus material is made up for that.
Oh yeah, that's a good excuse. That's why we did it.
Yep, that's exactly why. So it was all planned. Another week. Chalk it up.
I don't have a sign off. You guys know this by now.
Alright, folks.
Go fuck yourselves.
Keep it clean.